Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Prepper for the Ages. How's it going today? Today is April 3rd, 2026. I almost said 2023. Don't know why. Um, yeah. How are you doing today? So last night, story time. Okay. Last night I got home and my furnace was on and it was going. And I can understand why my furnace was on and it was going, but it was a little surprising to me. So let me tell you the backstory. Okay, so before I left the house, I said to myself, I had to go to work, I had to do errands, I had to do all this stuff. So I set my thermostat yesterday morning to 50 degrees. That's it. That was the bottom thing. And it was just in case my house got that cold that my downstairs pipes wouldn't freeze. And so that's basically for me, that's the bottom. Some people say that's too much of a bottom. Don't do that. But I went to work. I did all the things. Sam went to some friend's house so he could be dog sat. And then I came home and it was 33 degrees at my house, 34 degrees outside, and my furnace was on. And so that told me, excuse me, that told me that the house got so cold that the furnace had to kick on to keep the furnace at 50 degrees. So it was one of the things, it was kind of surprising to me because it is April. But yes, New England, we have some days and nights that it can get that bad, and it's been kind of dreck. It kind of really not good. He's rearranging the furniture. What would you like, Sam? It's been kind of crappy out. Here you go. It's been kind of crappy out the last few days, and it's just been just so cold and so raw that it's people, especially me, have to keep their furnace on to make sure that the pipes don't freeze. And at this point, excuse me, I have no idea what he's going after. At this point, the pipes aren't frozen, thank goodness. But because of the oil bill that I received and shared with you a week or two ago, because of the oil bill that I shared with you, I am just trying not to use oil. I'm trying to use as little of it as possible. And for me, it's a dry run to make sure that in case the fall comes and we don't have oil, or that oil is incredibly expensive. Yeah, he has the gas cap that I bought a gas cap that's a locking gas cap. I love you too. Can I have that? Good job. Uh, I love you, Sam. Um, because I experienced what I experienced. Let me go get cookies for him. Because giving stuff to me should be always rewarded. Because I have experienced the oil shock and oil prices. Excuse me. Hi, I'm back. Because I have experienced the oil shock and oil prices, I am not going to. I'm trying to spend as little money as possible, but I am also going to make sure that I am ready and prepared psychologically, physically, um, and I have my routine going for just in case there's little to no oil left coming to the United States. This is where I live. So we had something, we had a pipeline that we wanted to bring down from Canada for natural gas and petrochemicals, but everybody nixed it because it would have taken an extraordinary amount of land by eminent domain, and the state and the government would have taken it for the benefit of the petrochemical companies. So it's that was a good thing, but now we have to flex. We have to have alternatives. So at this point, I am going to go down and go down. I'm going to keep the thermometer, the thermostat down as much as possible. Okay, continuance of the story. Sorry. So I got home. It was 50 degrees in the house. It was freezing in the house. The furnace was on. And when I hear that furnace, ever since that oil bill, when I hear the furnace, I hear money going out the window. I envision money going out, just flying, be free, money going out the window. So I'm not. I don't want to do that. So my big thing, okay, new rules, new day, new rules. New rules is I keep the thermostat at 50 degrees. I supplement and I heat the living area with the wood stove. When I go to bed at night, yes, it's the furnace is still at 50 degrees, and I heard it kick in several times last night. But Sam and I go to bed and we stay under the covers and we make sure that we're nice and toasty that way. We'll see what happens. If we get really cold, we'll resort to the tent in the house thing. If we get really cold, we can sleep by the wood stove. Wood stove is a supplement. My the plan that I'm implementing, one of the reasons why I'm implementing this plan is because the wood that I'm using up is the last of the cord of wood that's a couple of years old. So I'm going to use that up before it turns all wormy. So we can use that up, make as most efficient resources use of most make use of resources in the most efficient way possible. Glasses. Um, yes, I love you too. Yes, you're a bull in a china shop this morning. Anyway, of course, and I need some more water. And so, uh, and so, and it's a lot of this is getting the system in place so that I can make sure the place is heated enough so the pipes don't freeze, and I'm warm enough during the day so that I can walk around and not huddle under the blanket. And I have an electric throw that if it gets really cold, I'll huddle underneath, but that prevents me from going out and doing things. Now, one of the things I thought about in my preps before and I didn't get, they have heated vests that are heated by basically you plug them in, you charge them, and it has a little battery, and then you can unplug it and then walk around. And it's just little, it's kind of like a electric blanket that's in the shape of a vest so that you can go around, walk around and do things. So I think I should have got that, but they are out there. You can get them. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them all these different places. So by the way, save me one if you go and buy one. But yeah, so I am using the wood stove to heat the living space of the house so that I can move around and get around and get stuff done. I don't have to huddle under the electric blanket. I am not looking forward to the next bill, the next the oil bill. I am, excuse me, very stingy on electricity, so much so that my electricity company sends me notices that I am more efficient than my most efficient neighbors. And I think a lot of that is because I live alone with Mr. Destructo here. I have no idea what else he's into. So anyway, so that's what I have now. That's what I'm communicating to you. I don't foresee this. How do I put this delicately? I don't foresee this resolving anytime soon. We are being told in the United States. We're being told in the United States. There was somebody on national TV saying it's only going to take a couple weeks. It's only a few more weeks. We won, all the stuff. I'm like, okay, but what is being said and what is being done are two totally opposite, totally different things. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to get into politics. Thank goodness I'm not getting into politics, but I am observing the situation. I am observing what's going on. I am also, doing what my grandmother did, my grandmother did, when she was a very little girl. Well, she was born on the farm. She was raised on the farm. And when she was a little girl, yeah, this is from a little girl perspective, but, they didn't have much on the farm, but they did have land to grow gardens and kitchen gardens and crops, and they had apple orchards, um, they had farm animals, and so they got along and they traded with their neighbors, and that's how they survived. And my grandmother carried forward a kitchen garden almost until the point where um, she couldn't live in the house anymore by herself. way many decades later. So she always carried that garden. It's kitchen. It was a backyard kitchen garden, and she would go and she would amend the soil, and she would grow the tomatoes and the cucumbers and the string beans. We always loved the string beans from my grandmother's garden, and she would talk with her sister that lived in town. She had several sisters, but she talked with one that lived in town. What are you growing this year? What's going on? The husbands would make the gardens, make the garden area, and then the women maintained it. And so my grandmother's garden was, I would say, about 2 car lengths long and 1 car length, one side car length wide. So it wasn't very big, but she could eat out of that garden all summer long and can and preserve and make stuff that make stuff you would can and preserve. She would get the tomatoes. She wouldn't grow them from seed because they were stronger if she got them at the local store, little seedlings. But other than that, that was good. And it was, she'd grow the beans on the poles, and it was just everything that you could plan out, and it was every year, and it was just matter of rote. Why? I am thinking because it was just something she did. Because she was taught that way. She learned that way. She saw that there was not always food, and sometimes you had to make your own food and not rely on outside food. And she learned that pretty well. Let me carry that forward to I was watching YouTube last weekend, and I saw an economist, and the economist was like, "Oh, there will always be food, but it'll just be very expensive." Well, I beg to differ because I talked with my grandmother, I talked with my grandparents, I talked with my great aunts and uncles, and I saw food scarcity, not food is too expensive. I saw no food. I heard no food, no food. And also because I was going to college at the time of the fall of the Soviet Union, I saw all the news reports and no food, no food, no food. There's no food in the stores, and you just all these, it was filmed back in the day, but all these films of just regular people walking up and down the aisles of the store, and it was just no food, no vegetables. What meat there was rancid. Just like everybody would pick up the same package and go put it down. That one packet of meat. And I'm not saying that was like that extreme, but that's what we were being shown, and so that surprised me. Other people, they really didn't care. It didn't affect them, so they didn't care about it. Or maybe they just maybe they didn't see those reels. But yeah, it's something that was something. So I know, not firsthand knowledge, but I heard the stories and I saw the movies about no food, people starving, people going hungry, all of the bread lines, all of the food lines. And so I know that, bringing it back to the economists, gee, Mr. Economist, don't say that, oh, there will always be food, it'll just be expensive. It's no food. Um, the farmers are getting hit. The farmers are getting hit with astronomical fertilizer prices first. Now it's astronomical diesel prices, and yes, the tractors run on diesel, and those are really. I mean, they're plowing, they're doing so. They're using a lot of fuel that they now can't afford because the price of diesel is spiking. All of the equipment and stuff for the tractors used, that has to be oiled. Everything has to go through petrochemicals. Um, from the plowing to the tilling to the fertilizing, with the petrochemical coming from that area of the world, to the planting, to the maintaining, to the harvesting, to the transport. If that's too expensive, they're going to pass. At the best, the farmers are going to pass for this year. At the worst, they're going to grow everything and then figure out that it's going to cost them more. That's the worst case scenario, is they grow everything, they expend all this money, and it's going to cost them more to harvest and transport than to just plow it under. And they did that last year. A whole bunch of farms did that last year. And some people will just stand pat over the year until the prices are better, and some people aren't going to be able to keep the farm. The farm's going to be foreclosed because they have to borrow money to plant. They have to borrow money for the farm. They have to borrow money to plant, to maintain. You have to have a revolving line of credit, and if they can't afford to pay that back, then the the collateral, then the bank takes the land. Pennies on the dollar, and guess who scoops that up? A lot of people that are either land developers or they're agricultural super farms. What do they call it? Just conglomerates, farm conglomerates, where they just level everything, and either they use it for their own purposes or they just let it sit because they just don't want the competition. Which it that is a that's a very, very capitalistic thing to do. It's almost, I call it extreme capitalism, Ferengi capitalism. Nobody else uses that term. I like to introduce that, use that as Ferengi capitalism. You go and you drive everything, drive your competition into the dust. You take as much profit as possible, and there's no ethics in it. There's no morals in it. There's no sense in it. There's no being community with it. It's just an automatic, you know, basically big ag, just being as profitable as increasing the profit margin means profitable as possible. Maybe I'll talk more about Ferengi capitalism. I did that once very, very early on in the channel. But yeah, it's something that you don't, it's coming. The what I'm seeing happening is one thing, and what is being explained to us is another thing. Um, And matter of fact, that same day it was explained to us in the United States that everything's just going to be okay and it's just going to last a couple more weeks and that's going to be it. We had two other heads of, and two other prime ministers in two other countries say, look out, do everything you can to conserve or not use petrochemicals. And that was very telling. It was the Prime Minister Albanese of Australia and Prime Minister Starmer of the UK. Don't use it, conserve it, look out. So yeah, make it stretch. Don't use it at all. Try to work from home. Try to take the bus. Try to take public transport. Um, but yeah, and they're saying that, and we're getting told something else. And the things that are happening, that we're seeing happening, are different. Who are you gonna go with? So for me, I'm hedging my bet. Gonna try to keep as much of the fuel oil as possible in my tank. I'm not going to go on any long, huge, winding trips spending all my gas. If you're seeing this if you're seeing this in the future, gasoline here in the United States at least has just topped $4 a gallon. Nobody's talking about it. The price is coming down. Uh, Food is getting extraordinarily expensive. Why? Because the trucks to transport it into the grocery stores, they use diesel. And if diesel is getting abominably expensive, they're not doing that anymore. All of the rideshare people are just throwing up their hands and they're quitting because it costs them more in gas to shuttle people around, more in gas and in maintenance than it would be worth it to shuttle people around in their cars. So anyways, but that's what I see. Yes, I have the turtleneck on today. Yes, I'm using there is a fire in the wood stove. It's just way in the back, out of sight. But yeah, it's something that I'm going to keep going on, and until I am convinced otherwise. And yes, I will hear people out, and yeah, I'll hear this side or that side. I'll hear all the information, but I will gather the information. I'm one of those information gatherers, and I'm not one of those people that are told what to think and how to think and whatever. I will, okay, yeah, and I'll just hear people out. I I act on, unfortunately, I act on logic and reason, but that's benefited me. And in the long run, I think it's going to benefit me. But I'm seeing, not from neighbors more. I just interact with coworkers more. It's just the what do they call it? Normalcy bias, because they've never encountered shortages like this before in their lifetimes. Um, I'm Gen X. I'm not quite sure that the boomers I think they've heard of it from their parents. I've heard of it from my grandparents, but anybody younger than that. There it's a concept. It's not something that really happens. So anyways, let me get off my high horse. I'm so sorry. Um, thank you for being my therapist. But yeah, let me get off. Um, and I have more work to do today. Um, stoking the wood stove today as well. And I'm just gonna keep going. So I have this weekend I have penciled out in my calendar as farm weekend, which means I'm gonna go turn over my raised garden beds. I'm going to make sure my soil is amended. I'm going to make sure everything is composted, rotate the compost stuff, make sure the chickens are okay, make sure everything is all right. And I have a lot of manual labor to do. So uh, tonight after work, if it's not raining, is going to be a lot of manual labor. Tomorrow is just going to be manual labor day. And it doesn't matter if it's raining out. It doesn't matter. I'll go out there and do as much as I can with what I can because we have a small window of getting this all winter. It's get the soil ready, get the soil ready, soil, soil, soil. And now it's getting the soil uh, being productive, getting the soil ready for planting and trying to figure out what to plant that can handle a hard frost and that kind of planting and that kind of doing. Um, but yeah, I need to reconfigure my backyard. I need to figure out if I go through all my raised garden beds and get them ready and get them sorted and go through all my garden container gardening because I have containers for gardening, get them up and then ready to go. What else can happen? I can break ground out back. I haven't had pesticides on my lawn for pesticides. I haven't had graze on or weed and feed on my backyard for 15 years now. So so yeah, and I've used the chicken manure to spread around so that that would be the natural fertilizer. So it's stuff that I need to kick into production. And even if everything's great tomorrow and it's just an exercise, yeah, I'm just going to count this as just an exercise. Where it works, what doesn't. I have 3 trees that were ringed by, I think, the bunny rabbits. Um, that they're all, they're treelings. They're small trees. That were apple trees, and they're gone. So I'm gonna have to they're just yeah they're gone they're dead. So yeah, so plant more trees, do all of the things, but it is an incredibly labor intensive thing, which I guess is a good thing because that'll help me with my steps. I'm doing 10,000 steps a day. Maybe that'll help me with my steppage. Keep my phone on me so it can record the steps that I go through. But yeah, anyway, that's what it's going on today, and that's what's going on for this weekend. It might plans might change. We might stuff might happen, stuff not might not happen, but it's just hope for the best and plan for the worst. So yeah, something that I've always ascribed to. So, but let me do some more work. My install is done, and I will just keep going on and working, and I'll keep you appraised over the weekend. Okay. All right. Hope this finds you well. Take care. Bye.